All right, good morning. I see some people viewing. We got 12 eyes on the top left, which is a good sign. I know it was just a couple minutes. I was checking the cameras. I just wanted to make sure the kids were back in class before we got started. But thank you for joining. If you notice, on our first slide, we have grade 7 class of 2027. That means we have 2 years left in middle school. We have this year, grade 7. And grade 8 next year, then you'll be done, and then you'll transition to high school. 4 years of high school. So that means from 2021 to 27, that's 6 years left of school until you are graduating high school. So no matter what high school you go to, you have 6 years left. So congratulations on that. This year for our 7th graders, I'm going to be honest, is a lot different than last year, which was your first experience in middle school and 6th grade. Some of you guys were in person most of the year. Some of you guys were remote. Much of the year was your first experience. Some of you were hybrid, a couple days here, a couple days there. We did have to close down a few times last year, and we went fully remote. This year, as you notice, in the first 8 days, because now we're 8 days in, it is full in person. Yes, we have some differences maybe than you would expect around the cafeteria and some of the classrooms, and we are still wearing masks, but we're in person, and we have a rigorous schedule, and you're transitioning into classes. So this year probably feels a lot different than last. Maybe towards the end it felt like it, but it is a different experience. And so we're going to review some of our expectations, school-wide expectations that many of you might know, some of you may not know, or we're going to kind of refresh our memory to make sure we're off on the right foot. So what we'll start with is some of our leaders in just right below me. You see Miss Untitled. She's going to join. She's going to talk about a few slides in just a few minutes. I'm in the middle, and Mr. Jackson's on the right. So Miss Untilted's office and my office are in the main office as you're walking down. Many of you know on the way to the cafeteria. Miss Untilted's is on the left. Mine's on the right. Our doors are open if you need to come see us. Mr. Jackson's our Dean of Students. His office is upstairs on the upper level next to the far stairwell where the copier is, right across from Miss Novotny's ELA class 7th grade. That's where Mr. Jackson's office is. He works with students, whether it be on the playground, whether there's conflicts or positive resolutions. He works closely with our counselors. You probably met your counselor, who's Mr. Amaya, our 7th grade counselor. We also have Mr. Cherbo and Miss Simone. They're all in the counseling center downstairs. You can see any one of them, but Mr. Amaya is actually your counselor. On the bottom, we have our house leaders. So if you're in Alpha 7, you're considered in Alpha House. Miss Sable is on the left. Miss Walters is the Beta House leader. So if you're in Beta 7, Miss Walters is one of our English or literacy improvement teachers. So she'll be working with a large group of students and teachers. Some of you may have had her last year in 6th grade because she was upstairs in the corner room. And I know she taught many of you in 6th grade ELA, but she's transitioned to a different role. And Miss Golding, who is our Delta House leader. So if you're in Delta 7, she is your Delta House leader. She is one of our music teachers. She does chorus, broadcast journalism. She works with all the kids on Panther News and even is behind the scenes right now in this broadcast, as well as our theater teacher. So if you're interested in theater arts and our plays, Miss Golding will be somebody who you'll work with. So what we have emphasized over the last year for you guys, and now as we transition to this year, to make sure that we remember what we hold as important at West Rocks, and you being part of our community, we emphasize that we all want to be citizens, right? And citizenship of our West Rocks community is really important. So how are you doing your part? And each quarter, if you remembered last year, we had our awards. We recognized students for showing leadership, service, character, scholarship, perseverance. And we ultimately also had an award for our Pause Award winner, which when we earn Pause cards, positive interactions, accountability, willingness, and safety, which we'll get into in just a second. But really, those are the things that we feel are important. We have pillars. Maybe you noticed in the cafeteria, we actually have signs now on our pillars because those create our foundations, and we can stand on them as we build and continue to grow. So a couple of things that, other than just kind of naming those traits that we feel are important, we want to make sure that you are going out of your way to help others. We really want to be kind. And that goes with, all right, let's make a good decision on if somebody needs help, whether it be an adult, a peer, a friend, somebody you just see. You want to help others. Be nice. Be prepared for school and class every day. That includes charging your Chromebook. That includes doing your homework. That includes asking questions. Or maybe that means eating breakfast because you get really hungry halfway through the day. So whether it's at home or you grab a breakfast in school, from one of our carts and eat in homeroom, whatever that means, make sure you are prepared each and every day to be successful in school. Keep electronics away while in school. That means phones in your locker. You're going to get, and we're going to talk about this in just a minute, you're going to get another new device. I know we had temporary, the Chromebook that you have is temporary. But outside of that, if you have a cell phone, it's off or on silent. And if you have a locker, which we'll get next week, you will assign if those people want them. You don't have to have one. But if you have a phone, it's got to be off or silent, and it stays in your bag. Again, I'll say this just because some people forget. If you don't keep your phone on silent or in your locker or in your bag, and it does come out the first time, it may be, okay, let's put it away in your bag. And we make sure to put it away, whether it be me, Miss Amaral, Mr. Jackson, or another adult. The second time, maybe the first time, okay, it's mine. I'm going to hang on to it for the rest of the day, and I'll give it back to you at the end of the day. Your teacher might take it and then turn it into the office, so you might have to come in the office at the end of the day to get it. And after one or two times of us turning it back in or giving it back to you at the end of the day, what's going to happen is your parent or guardian or an adult will have to come in and get it, and we will not give it back to you. If you need a phone, we have plenty of phones around the school. You can ask, and you can use one of the offices. Cell phones are not permitted in any of the 4 middle schools in Norwalk, West Rocks being one of them. So again, sometimes it happens that if we have it and we leave, you won't get it until the next day or two if an adult can't get here till after work and the school is closed. So please understand that we are strict with it, and we will continue to make sure and enforce that policy moving forward this year and next. Along those same lines is reporting to concerns to an adult. If you're concerned about a friend, if they've shared something on social media the night before, or they may said that they're going to do something that may harm themselves or others, or you're just generally worried, make sure you talk to an adult. That could go for yourself too. You're worried about something. There's a concern, whether your academics in your classes or something that happened on the playground, any of those things in the lunchroom. Make sure you talk to an adult. It can be me, it can be Miss Amaral, it could be a teacher, it could be a different staff member, anyone in the building, and then we'll make sure that your concern is addressed. Whether it needs to be making sure we're safe, or a friend is safe, or there's a concern about a class. We want to respect school and others' property. So that goes for things like the lunchroom, the cafeteria, that goes to the desks in your classroom, that goes to the bathrooms. Make sure we're respecting all of those things, as well as other people's belongings. If it doesn't belong to you, it shouldn't be in your hands. If it doesn't belong to you and your friend hasn't said you can borrow it, you shouldn't be going through anybody's bag. Make sure you're respecting other people's property as well as your own, and that just like other people will respect yours. Digital citizenship, that means we're being responsible online. When we go back to homeroom in just a little while, we'll talk a little bit more about that. There's 9 elements of it. You're actually going to do some research and do a presentation on it. But really, you have a lot of power going on the internet, and with that comes a lot of responsibility. So digital citizenship is something that we're going to continue to work on throughout this year and moving forward. One of those pillars that we talked about is service. Just to give you an idea of service opportunities, we expect you to give back to those around you, whether it be our West Rocks community or the community at large. There are opportunities, and some of our 7th graders took advantage of them over the summer and beginning of the year. We had a summer cleanup. We actually had a 6th grade orientation, and some of our 7th graders actually participated in it. Thank you to those people. You're in service hours for it. Coming up in a couple of weeks, we are going to have Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It'll be a little bit different than last year because we were kind of remote and hybrid. Every Friday, we're going to wear our pink shirts. We're going to raise money for breast cancer awareness. We're even going to have a Making Strides walk. We're going to look for the date and time of that. A couple of years ago, we were able to do it as a whole West Rocks community, and we walked, and we gave back and spread awareness. It was a really fun day. We'll also have later in October a fall cleanup and planting, so it's usually a good turnout. We'll plant trees, we weed, we pick up garbage, we plant flowers. It's a good day for the morning. We give some snacks and or food. Again, giving back and earning service hours. November, we'll do some Veterans Day recognition, canned food drive, Toys for Tots near the holidays. And then January, we'll do a Martin Luther King assembly around promoting equity and, recognizing all of the different figures that brought us to where we are today. And then second half of the year, we'll continue that. So think about what you can do and how you can give back to the community at large. As many of you know, pause, and you've seen the signs around, and now you've been here for a year. You get pause cards, but these are expectations that are school-wide, no matter where you are, whether it be the bus, whether it be in the hallway, whether it be in the bathroom, cafeteria, auditorium, classroom. These are our expectations, and we raise our pause here at West Rocks. So P, positive interactions. We treat everybody with respect. And again, that aligns with some of our pillars, character and leadership, which we're speaking appropriately with appropriate language. We're choosing to be kind, be nice. That's really it. We're accountable. We take responsibility for our actions. We accept the outcome. We're role models. Willingness, maybe you're asked to do something you're not used to, you've never done before. And you got to give effort, whether it be speaking in public speaking in front of others. Maybe you're in a different class now, and your science teacher has said, "Oh wow, you and your group has done a really good job with your STEM Expo, and you are now going to present to a larger group and some people from outside of our school." And maybe that makes you nervous, but if you're willing to put yourself out there and be successful, that's what our expectation is. Just try and be willing to try something new and safe. Got to be safe. Safety first, be safe and appropriate with technology, one, but also any situation. If there's a dangerous or harmful situation, you got to report it to an adult, and as well as being safe, right, on the playground, in the hallway, cafeteria, not running, simple things like that, even walking on the right side of the hallway and up the right side of the stairs, to something much more significant and serious if we have a lockdown drill or an evacuation drill, or it happens to be a real evacuation. You are quiet, you're listening to your teachers, you're doing what you should be you're supposed to do, so you remain safe and you make sure everybody else is safe as well. And again, our store, you'll be able to earn those pause cards. Teachers just got there's virtual, but there's also hard copies, and we'll be opening up the school store within the next few weeks, so you can cash those in for some prizes. And I'll transition this to Miss Emerald.
Well, good morning, 7th grade. First of all, I just want to say that I'm super happy to see everybody back at school. I know some of you, like Dr. Reynolds had said, were hybrid last year. Some of you were fully virtual, but it's been a pleasure to kind of see all of you in the hallway, in class, lunch and recess. So I'm so glad to see everybody in person. Second of all, if you have any questions or thoughts about any of the things that Dr. Reynolds has said so far, you can ask your teacher to just drop a comment in the little comment section, because we will be able to see those and we can address those towards the end of this little session. So if you have anything that we forgot to say, or if you just want some clarity on something, we can check those as well. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your academics, obviously the reason why you come to school. And just like we had last year, you're going to have 4 different report cards this year. There's 4 quarters. There's marking period 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in between each of those, you'll have interims, which is just the comments that get sent home to your parents to let them know how you're doing in each of your classes. And by now, your teachers would have already explained how your grades are comprised, what criteria. It could be performance tests, quizzes, classwork, homework, participation. Each of your teachers can explain further how the grades are calculated in their class. And I have found that most students check PowerSchool regularly. If you don't have it on your phone or on your Chromebook, that way you can see what your missing assignments are and you can keep up with your grades. And obviously, you know that your teachers are here to help you anytime that you have any questions, or if you've missed something, please reach out to your teachers. Again, this year in the spring, so probably mid to end of May, we are going to be doing spec testing just like we did last year. You did an amazing job. We probably had the best participation out of all 4 middle schools because of you. You all took it super serious. You came to test when I asked you to test. You did a great job. That will happen again at the end of the year. And this year, we are not doing AIMSweb like we did last year, but we are going to do MAP testing. So some of you may remember MAP testing from when you were in 5th grade. We're going to go back to doing MAP testing probably the end of September, and that will be in math and ELA classes. But just as things go on throughout the semester, or this marking period anyway, think about what are you doing to set personal goals so that you're always doing a little bit better. So think about how you did last year in 6th grade, and what can you do better this year so that you can potentially just grow in your academics. Are you trying to get on the honor roll? Are you just trying to get an A in all your classes? Whatever works necessarily for you. And as Dr. Reynolds stated earlier about our expectations, one of the greatest prides I have in working at West Rocks is our sense of community and family. And we have really built a strong community, not only with the adults, but with the students as well. But it really takes everyone to work together for us to create that community. So the most important thing that you can remember is to always respect yourself and others, and to do that by leading by example. So if you see something, say something. Whether you say it to your friends to knock it off or to make better choices, or if you report it so that we can keep everyone safe, that really is contributing to the community and making everyone accountable for creating a safe and caring environment. Remember, that could be on the bus, in the hallways, cafeteria, recess, in the bathrooms. It really takes all of us to work together for us to create the sense of respect and community that we all expect. This year, also, you've noticed that we're being a little stricter with the hats and hoods. So I really want to commend all of you, because any of the students that I have spoken with and asked them to take off their hat or hood has been exceptionally respectful and done it immediately. So I just want you to continue doing that, because I know sometimes you forget. You walk in, you have your hood on, it's chilly, and you just forget to take it on. That's not a big deal. And then just in general, dressing appropriately. You know, the t-shirts that have inappropriate words, keep those for the weekend. If your parents are okay with them, that's really for us to just make sure that everyone is here and creating a learning environment for us to keep everybody safe and appropriate. And I believe we haven't really talked too much about shoes, but in the past, some students have asked about wearing slides or slippers to school. If they do not have a bag, they're just not safe. So if we have a fire drill or an evacuation of any sort, we just want to make sure that you are safe and that you're not going to trip over your own shoes. So all shoes do need to have a backing on it.
And just to finish up with behavior, you guys reviewed that packet of expectations last week. You're going to get planners today in homeroom when you go back, in addition to a couple other things, a water bottle. There's the code of conduct is in there. You can review it. And, you know, some people have asked questions about, well, what happens if I do this, or what happens if I do that? What is the consequence? And, you know, unfortunately, sometimes we do have to give consequences for actions, right? Some are very simple. You know, you have an infraction and maybe you made a bad choice and mistake and you have a lunch detention or you miss recess, right? Something else could be an after-school detention because maybe that didn't do it and you're repeating that behavior. Unfortunately, if it continues or it's a little bit more significant, behavior, you might have Saturday detention or Saturday school. We're going to start that next month, where it's from 8 to 11. You would come to school as a consequence on a Saturday morning, and we'd have staff members having that too. And there's even extreme examples, and that, you know, that's if it becomes dangerous or you really make a poor choice, that you won't be allowed to come to school for a little while, things like that. So if you're curious, it is a Norwalk Public Schools Code of Conduct, it's called, for all 4 middle schools and high schools. You can take a look at that. It's in your planner if you want to flip through it. But those are, you know, as far as behaviors go, if things aren't changing for the better, for, you know, in conversations and warnings, things like that, there are consequences and they're laid out. Just to move along, because we're going to get through this, we're going to actually talk about digital citizenship and Verizon a little bit later today. All students are going to get a brand new Verizon device. The Chromebooks that you got are temporary, brand new touchscreen, 5G data plan. And we're actually going to have a contest, homeroom contest, to get a free breakfast. And we'll talk a little bit more about that around learning and applying your knowledge for around digital citizenship. And you obviously, hopefully, you saw some new ViewSonic boards that our teachers are getting used to, which is, you know, newer technology for the classroom. Attendance, as you saw last year, attendance is important. You're here, your achievement goes up. You're here, you're able to make new friends, interact socially. It's a lot more fun. Make sure you're here on time. Obviously, if your bus comes late, it's not your fault, but you're supposed to be here on time, and every class on time. You're not wandering in the hallways, and attendance does impact your achievement, and that's the only way you learn. A couple other things, just to put it out there. I've had a few questions from our 7th graders. We are going to begin an SRBI and enrichment every day in about a week and a half. That period, instead of going back to homeroom at 11:10, you'll actually go to a different classroom for either enrichment and or some intervention. More to come on that. Some of you are National Junior Honor Society. Congratulations to those leaders. We will have another opportunity to apply for 6th and 7th graders this spring. So make sure you get our service in and doing all the right things if that's the group that you want to be part of and recognized throughout your career. After school sports and intramurals, we are going to get that up and running within the next few weeks. We will have a sports program and we will be competing against the other middle schools. It's going to be the sports are going to be on a rotating basis, and we're working with our high school, a couple of our high schools, but Norwalk High School specifically, and their coaches are actually going to come down and coach our teams, and some of them that are going to compete against the other middle schools, and then we'll have the intramurals, which is just which is going to be West Rec students like we had last year with like ping pong and pickleball, things like that. So more to come. And field trips, hot off the press for grade 7. As of last night, we got approved to go to Nature's Classroom 5 days, 4 nights. Whoop, whoop. It is a different place, very exciting. I know Mr. Lippert, who really is one of our teachers here. He organizes it in conjunction with a lot of our staff and families. But we are in the planning process, and it's going to go out to families tonight. And some information, we're going to have an informational meeting next week. But it will be an overnight trip. There are some safety precautions. There are some things that we have to prove based on vaccination status and PCR test negative, a lot of that information, but we're super excited to be able to offer the traditional Nature's Classroom experience, which is overnight, and it's going to be in the beginning of November. We're looking at that first week in November, but more to come on that. So super excited. And then next year, 8th grade and our 8th graders this year, we're planning something, but we're hoping that you'll have another overnight. So in previous years, 8th graders went to Washington, D.C. The plan was go to Boston, 2 years ago. So we're hoping that that'll happen for our 8th graders this year, and you can look forward to that field trip next year too. But super exciting about Nature's Classroom. So I'm going to leave you with, what will you contribute? We talked all about what our school-wide expectations are. Your teachers bring their best each and every day. So whether they're learning new technology, whether they're, bringing books in from home, whether they're bringing their own experiences, whether they're giving feedback and staying after school, whether they're coming in early and providing feedback and helping you in any way you can, whether it be our cafeteria staff who works diligently to prepare for those nachos and the pizza Fridays and how they come and make sure they're here on at breakfast, and whether it's our counselors who just drop everything and meet with you, or Miss Ball, or our library, wherever it is. That's what our staff and really wants to bring to the table for you. But now I'm going to turn it on you. What's your goal? What are you going to bring? Right? Whether it's academics, whether it's music, whether it's theater, think about that and let that guide you over the next year to 2 years. Couple questions in the chat. I'm looking at when can we apply National Junior Honor Society? That's usually right around the winter and the spring. So you'll get an opportunity a little later in the year, and we have an induction ceremony later in the spring. So between the winter and the spring, those applications will be out. We're looking at Verizon Chromebooks on September 30th. That is our goal for the rollout. September 30th, we'll do it in school for students who have all of their paperwork done. And then we're going to have a rollout at night for those other families who want to come. And then over the next few days, paperwork has to be in before you actually get a device. So more to come on that, but we're expecting all or almost all to get it on September 30th. Have a great day, guys. Have a great weekend.